So, hello, really nice to have you here, and it was a pleasure to listen to your speech today. And for those who wasn't here with us today, I think maybe we can, gather additional insights, just at least 1-2 tips to help them out with sales.
Of course.
So basically, I was also thinking that historically, I believe sales had like super little trust, but that's natural because when people don't know something, they are skeptical. But maybe there is something that you could distinguish that used to work before, but it's no longer working well, creating trust.
Yes. So something that we know now is that trust is being eroded publicly. So we have Edelman, the world's leading authority on trust, that reports that trust is almost at an all-time low. And we know this. We have things like the Epstein files, deep fakes, manipulative marketing, greenwashing, and all of this contributes to an environment which makes it much harder for sales professionals to operate in, because people are operating from that place of skepticism as opposed to natural trust. And of course, sales professionals already have a hard challenge when we think of the typical car salesman, slick hair back. There's some stereotypes of sales professionals that are also difficult to overcome. But something that I think perhaps used to work but works less now is we overemphasize credibility through complexity. Let me break down what I mean by that. We know that credibility is important. People want to know that you are good at what you do. Your product or service is sound. But the trouble is that now we have reduced attention spans. We have a social media environment where people are flicking and not giving much attention to things anymore. So we need to work on being less complex in our communication. We need to simplify. And that is something that I find is often missing. People think that they are clear, and then they're actually not. And I ask them, okay, great. So let's say, Alina, you just listened to me. You need to then go and pass that message on to somebody else.
And it's confusing.
And it's hard to do. It's hard to do. Yes.
I see. And if, for instance, you would have to describe one like really common mistake among very senior professionals that you would expect them naturally to avoid that thing, but they are still doing, what is the best way to screw up in 60 seconds?
Something I see frequently is people overemphasizing how something works as opposed to why it matters. So you get a question, for example, what is the main benefit of your software, for example? And instead of painting a story and a vision of how this person's life could improve through using your product, they instead go, let me go into, exactly. Let me tell you all about the features and the architecture and the integrations, and it can do this and it can do that. So people lose trust because they go into all of that before they make the other person care.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more, because sometimes you see how people are so much concentrated on features that they even forget to ask, like, what do you actually need? That active listening, all that, everything.
Exactly. What is the problem you're trying to solve?
And talking about digitalization, since we already touched base that topic, quite often the communication isn't happening in a live way. More and more it's happening online, and basically you just try to reach out to someone, but you have a super limited ways for the body language, for some homework to be done up front. I mean, you can do that as a salesperson, but yet another party quite often knows very little about you. So how could you use any icebreakers there to make that the first hello easier?
So are you talking of this in a possible virtual meeting, or if somebody just comes across you online?
The cold outreach, basically.
Okay. People need to be aware of their digital footprint. What do you share online? And is that a genuine, real, useful representation of what your ideal customer or client needs? I share a lot online. This is part of my job. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn. And it can be tempting to purely share the polished, professional communication, right? It is. And yet, some of the most, the content that has been the most engaged with, that has led to people reaching out to me, it has been when I show more elements of my personal life, when I explain where I went wrong, where I made that mistake when I was trying to grow my podcast and I wish I never did that. And if I was starting over, I'd do it differently. Like all of those things that we resist doing, they are so fundamental for building trust. But we don't do it because we want to focus on being credible and professional. And we care about the image that we project outwardly. So I would encourage everyone to think about, can you share more authentic content and think more intentionally about your personal brand? Not just your company brand, but who are you?
Personal
and what
brand.
personal branding, I think, is becoming increasingly important.